Hey, good evening. How is everyone? Everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to Wednesday night. It's good to see you, and it's good to be seen by you. I am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live on the first evening of the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention. But no, sir, that's not what this is about tonight. We have a guest. That's right. Guys, you can't stop me just because there's a convention. You can't stop me. I'll have two guests in a week if I want. So we have an awesome one tonight, and we'll be bringing him on in just a hot second. I did want to point something out. I want to mention this, and I will let you folks know if there's some folks out there who are ramped up and ready to play some dungeon. I may be a little bit late for Dungeon, but that's okay. It's a lightweight game. And that 4-hour time slot, it's not going to take the whole 4 hours. I promise you, not for a good, solid game of Dungeon. It's meant to be a lightweight game, and we're still going to be able to have fun. I just got a few real world things pressing in on me, but it's all good. Don't panic. So I hope everybody out there, I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful evening this week and or evening this evening. As I like to say, yesterday was a hell of a week when things get particularly busy. But speaking of busy, we're gonna be busy here in just a minute because we have got a great guest on the show. Now, as far as I'm concerned, you guys know me. I like toys. I like greebly things, whether they're tactile, physical things I can hold on to, or applications on the computer that can make my dungeon mastering a little bit easier. And we're entering a stage of computer development now where those things are able to cross over from the virtual into the physical world. And I don't just mean augmented reality and VR and things like that. But we're going to talk to our guest tonight about that a little bit. But personally, I think the two go together like peanut butter and jelly, like ham and cheese, like Batman and Robin. But enough of my crazy analogies. Let's bring on our guest. He's been on the show many times before. He's kind of like the big brain. Okay, he's the idea guy. All right, like if you picture like a 1960s caper movie, his handle would be the brain. So everybody, please welcome from our friends over at Brave Alice. Everybody, put your hands together for Agis. Was it Angeli? He's got on his screen. How the heck are you, man? It's been
Hello there. Thanks for having me again and again and again and again. I am the brain.
You're practically a co-host at this point. I'm gonna have to put you on the payroll.
Yeah, why not? We can start playing some D&D together sometime.
Hey, I would love that. I would absolutely. That would kick ass to have you in a D&D game, my friend. There's Risa in the audience. Yeah. Not feeling good enough to be on the show, but feeling good enough to set out. I see how it is, Risa. I see how it is. Okay. Anyway, how have you been, man?
Well, all good. We are working hard for all of our products. So mostly my life is work. If you can call work someone whose job is around tabletop RPGs. I mean, we love what we do, so I can't complain.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we are running a Kickstarter campaign, so things been hectic. We work a lot, we promote a lot, and we try to communicate what we are doing. Mm-hmm. So here I am.
Excellent. Well, we want to hear all about that. Just a quick shout out to the audience. Von Wheeling Dragon, of course, Reese's out there. Eula Granz, I hope I pronounced that right. Uncle Brat, who will be skipping off to his tabletop game for the Guac tonight. Perfectly acceptable reason. And I saw Vincent snuck in there. Michael Dale, good to see everybody. So now you and I mean, we're simpatico, but For some of our new subscribers, for maybe some people who are just popping in for the first time to see what all this noise on this end of the internet is about, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about Brave Alice and what they do.
All right. So about myself, oh God. I
You're on
am
the
the
spot, buddy.
yeah, I'm the director of Brave Alice Games. That's all you need to know, I guess. I'm Greek. I'm Greek
That is
living.
the perfect character background, Aggie.
Yeah, yeah.
It's on a single line
Um,
on the character sheet.
yeah. I am Greek, living in London. I'm a level 10 director, I might say. And Brave Alice Games is a company that creates software and STLs and books around tabletop RPGs. Um, and our flagship product, let's say, is RPG Stories VTT. Is a world builder, a 3D world builder VTT, where what we have created is a tool where you can build your scenes, create your own maps, your own environments. And then either export them and go play to another VTT, or if you like 3D VTTs, invite your friends and play in our VTT. But I guess the biggest advantage we have is that we have thousands and thousands of 3D models within RPG Stories, allowing you pretty fast to create any scene you want for your game, and then enjoy. And I know that this is mostly a Dungeons and Dragons, or let's say high fantasy channel, but we also support modern games and sci-fi games as well.
Oh yeah, let me tell you what, we have the full smorgasbord covered when it comes to RPGs around here. We got audience members who like the Gamma World, or the Traveler, or Star Frontier, Star Trek, Star Wars, Cyberpunk. Trust me, you're in good company.
Yeah.
So the RPG Stories VTT, we talked about that a little bit, just a little bit the last time you were on. And guys, you got to check this out. Right there's the link, Brave Alice. It's right on the screen. Very, very simple. Just stick that in your browser, pop open another tab, listen as you look. It's such a cool little tool. And again, I've said this before, down here on the old school end, there's no reason to fear the technology, because I want to dig into this one day, when I have some free time, perhaps in 2028. But no, all kidding aside, I want to dig into this and build like some classic dungeons and get like a first person perspective. Like, what might it be like, rather, to walk through the lost caverns of Sojkanth or the Tomb of Horrors or something like that. And you guys have absolutely got the tool set to do this with. And it's my understanding, because you guys have a Kickstarter going, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes,
it's getting even better. It's getting even better. So I'm gonna put that up on screen while you tell us about it.
Yeah. So what we do is this: that we got funded in 2022, almost 2 years ago. It was October. And we reached most of our goals and stretch goals in that Kickstarter. So we were really happy with it. And we released the early access on Steam like a year and a half ago. And now we launched the Wrath of Devs, which is the first expansion for RPG Stories. So basically what we are doing in this campaign is we invite, first of all, we say to our seasoned users, hey, come and pledge for the Wrath of Devs expansion. Simple as that. And I'll explain the features and the new models later on. The second thing we do is that we welcome newcomers. We have discounted pledges where they can pledge for the original version and the expansion one, and take everything from this Kickstarter in a lower price than going on Steam and then coming here to back the expansion. And with this campaign, we are aiming to do two things. So the first is to introduce several features that will make world building a lot faster. So right now, if you want to build like a small dungeon, you'll probably spend like, I don't know, 15 minutes or 20 minutes, because we already support really fast ways to build. But now
Okay.
we want to introduce procedural generated scenes. Basically just drag and draw an area, get a dungeon ready with just one click, and then if you want to adjust several things, you are free to do so. So that's the first thing. We want to really increase the speed of world building. The second thing we offer in this campaign is special exports for other VTTs, because right now you can export in 2D, you can export in top view, all your 3D maps, you can export them as 2D in top view or any view you want.
Okay.
But the other VTTs, like the 2D famous VTTs like Foundry, Roll20, they also support special files where, although it's in 2D, they can recognize where is a wall, where lights exist, and portray this in their VTT. So we are giving these exports because we know people really like them, and we are giving as well lots of pre-built quests, meaning that you open the software, you double click on a quest, it's there ready to read it, explore it, and then invite your friends and play. And of course, lots and lots of new models. We are really proud of our library and how many different themes and worlds you can build. But we wanted to introduce some really specific themes, like ancient Rome, for instance. Well, to be fair, not just ancient Rome, but also ancient Greece and ancient world. We are introducing a new package that will allow dungeon masters to build underwater worlds to better support underwater quests, because they're really famous, especially in the older editions, and we love them. And
absolutely.
yeah, and lots of futuristic themes and ruins and post-apocalyptic themes, and also expand our dice panel, because we have a dice panel that supports most popular games, but we want to introduce more. For instance, Fallout RPG. So our main goal is like a quite small goal for a Kickstarter campaign, but we just wanted to go slowly in this campaign, and don't ask for a lot. So yeah, we offer these things. Anyone can pledge, even if you are not into free DVDs or VTTs. It would be wonderful to support us. But I would like people to trust us that it's pretty easy to build. And it's not only about how you play D&D, if you enjoy VTTs or things like that, but even like spending hours on your own building scenes. It's inspirational. You get ideas, and it's fun. I mean, I relax by using this software, although I work on it all day. But yeah, I really enjoy it because for instance, now I will leave London for 2.5 months. I will go in Greece. And after a long time, I will get the opportunity to play with my best friends, like, around the table and not online. And although I know it will be around the table, I'm building the quest in RPG Stories because it gives me ideas and say, oh, this could be that way, or this could be that way. So it's a really nice tool that we are in active development, and besides this Kickstarter, we keep on giving features, keep on giving new models and new ways to do things, and I'm pretty sure that people will enjoy it. So the link is there, as far as I understand. So yeah, it would be nice to see some support.
Yeah, so there's the Kickstarter link, guys. Please go and check that out. We absolutely enjoy the look of things so far. So the expansion here, Wrath of Devs, you're hitting all the dopamine release buttons in exactly the right way, because I'm seeing you've got a D&D, of course, but Alien, Blade Runner, Hero Quest, Call of Cthulhu, Walking Dead. These are all texture and model packs. And my audience members, please don't be gun shy about this. All of this can go straight to the desktop. We've demonstrated this on the show before with you, Aggie, like the top-down map views and things like that. But I wanted to, first of all, Risa's in the audience cheering on, watching the video. Do you mind if we do that?
No, but go ahead.
All right, let's see this now. Aggie and audience members, I don't know if the audio will come through StreamYard and then out to you guys. So we'll give this a try. If nothing else, we'll get a good view of it. So let's
welcome
see.
GMs and adventurers to our first expansion Kickstarter campaign, The Wrath of Devs. Both seasoned users and newcomers can pledge at discounted prices. Let's break everything down. RPG Stories VTT already features a massive world builder with more than 6,000 3D models covering all 3 major eras. Fast ways to build stunning 3D scenes for your favorite games. A 2D uploader in case you want to play in 2D. And a stable multiplayer with a dice panel that supports all famous tabletop role-playing games. So, what's new? The Wrath of Devs is improving the overall experience of RPG Stories VTT, introducing a vast collection of thousands of new models powered by the famous Kitbash 3D library. Procedural generated scenes and features that will highly increase the speed of world building. Experts for other VTTs like Foundry and Roll20. Customizable character sheets and rule sets. Pre-built quests and pre-built scenes so that you won't have to build anything. New characters and monsters. Amazing new VFX and condition animations. And of course, Kickstarter exclusive rewards and add-ons. The Wrath of Devs is not just a Kickstarter campaign. It's our dream to make RPG Stories the community's VTT. Back us today.
Well, there we go, guys. That is an absolutely gorgeous looking pack you guys have got there. I'm excited about this. This is really, really cool. Now, I do have 2 questions for you, Aggie, because you would have questions for you. I just don't worry. We can come back to the Kickstarter and so forth. But now I saw something, and if you can drop me the exact link, because this really kind of made my antenna perk up a little bit. The ones up here, get your minds out of the gutter, viewers. But the I saw something about integration with Hero Forge. And their models. Tell me about that. That's exciting. I want to hear about integrating Hero Forge.
It's really, really, really easy. All you have to do is open the software, go to settings, and copy paste your Hero Forge ID, and you get to use in the 3D scene all your miniatures that you have from Hero Forge. So basically, how this collaboration happened was that our initial idea is that we're going to have like 3D models for the characters and the monsters. So we keep implementing that. But we saw our fans going, hey, do you support Hero Forge? Will you support Hero Forge? So we added that in our first campaign. We contacted Hero Forge. They were more than happy to do it. It's really easy. Basically, when you set your 3D scene and send the characters and the monsters, if you have a Hero Forge IP and you subscribe to the browser, you can bring in your miniatures and play with these miniatures, either in 2D or 3D, whatever you choose. So yeah, and in order to activate it, it's really, really simple. You just do a copy paste. You take your Hero Forge ID, you copy paste it in our settings, and poof, there they are. You can use them.
So you guys are hooked fully into their API, and it's just seamless. Yeah. I want this awesome winged battle maiden just right here on the tabletop. Yeah. Now, let's first of all, before we go down this rabbit hole, I do have to ask a question, or rather, let a viewer. Kabuki wants to know what brand of guitar that is. I think this is like the second time somebody's asked about it.
It's a Taylor.
It's a Taylor. There you go.
Taylor. Yeah.
But anyway, so I lost my train of thought. Guitar, miniatures. Right. Okay. So, as we all know, of course, Hero Forge's primary thing is creating static miniatures that are just imposed. I noticed that many of your miniatures in y'all's tool set have animatics. Is there anything in the rigging of the Hero Forge that will allow them to move, or are they just static?
Yes and no. So
Okay.
our 3D models walk, or they stand in idle animations. With this campaign, we are aiming to add more condition animations, like if a hold person spell is cast, let's say, for example, you can freeze the character, or if it's poisonous, or if it's dead, they drop dead, things like that. We are trying to bring condition animations. So we kind of connect these to Hero Forge, but the Hero Forge miniatures are not rigged. So what you get is, instead of walking, they slide. But they do go there. You don't just pick them and drop them. They slide and they move where you want them to go. Okay. And you can adjust the animation speed of how fast they do it. So if we add condition animations, some of them, not if, since we will probably get funded, fingers crossed, they will follow some of these condition animations. So if, let's say, a character dies or a monster dies, they will drop. But, the animation will be just to drop. Because you cannot rig these miniatures, not because Hero Forge is bad, but because they are meant to be like for printing purposes. So they're STLs, they're not rigged. Right. And we cannot get them and rig them because we get them as they are from the Hero Forge API.
Yeah, and I mean that like automating that it's there's millions of miniatures. I got 10 people create a dwarf fighter mini in Hero Forge, and they are going to be 10 completely different miniatures as far as pose, standing, everything. So, but I think it's cool that you can have a little bit of movement in them. So that's super cool. And then that dovetails nicely because, as I was saying, as you guys were moving into a partnership with Hero Forge and everything like that. And, I was talking about crossing over from the virtual into the physical. We discussed this the last time you were on the show, but excuse me. So are we at the point where we're getting full STLs from RPG Stories now?
Yes and no. So listen. What we do is that we have an amazing 3D artist in our team. Her name is Helen Russo, and she creates several STLs, and we give STLs. But you cannot get from RPG Stories to directly export as STL and print them. There are several reasons for that. The main reason is that we have so many models, which obviously we don't build them on our own. So what we do is that we collaborate with other artists, or we buy 3D models from other artists and we implement them in. So our license is only for the game, for the software, and we cannot give them and resell them as STLs. But we create STLs, we give STLs, and we might do such a thing in the future, but with our own models, not everything you create.
Okay.
But what we've seen happening since you are mentioning the table is that a lot of people are using RPG Stories not online, but what they do is around the table, they have like a screen where they showcase and usually a flat screen on the table, like a TV on the table, and they place their miniatures on it, and they open them up in top view and they play there. So that's something that's pretty useful when you play around the table. Instead of like having printed maps, you have your laptop or your screen on the table and they play there. Mm-hmm. We've seen that several times. We've done it once in a festival. like in a con, and it went amazing. People really enjoyed it. So we are trying to bring more features that people could use RPG stories around the table instead of going online.
Yeah, and that, that's something. There's been a lot of back and forth, and I've done some standalone videos, and I've had a guest on. He's actually a scientist and a software developer himself, Tim Imholt. We've talked a lot about virtual tabletop and what Wizards of the Coast wants to do with their VTT. And personally, I think they got it all wrong. And not to blow sunshine, but I think you guys are definitely taking the right approach by, you're not like pushing the books and the pen and the paper away. You're bringing them over and saying, let's blend these two together. And I really, really, really like that. So it's, it's quite a, it's quite an exciting thing that you guys are doing. You're talking about like tablets and laptops and so on. I have seen some beautiful stuff done with handcrafted or Dwarven Forge type terrain and miniatures and so on. But the game master will slide a laptop like under the edge of the Dwarven Forge and then have like a mystic portal or running water or lava or something like that. On a tablet, and it can really, for my technophobe grognard friends out there, trust me, it can be very cool. It can be very, very cool, and I think you guys are bringing that level of cool again, where you're bridging from, you're taking that right approach. And that brings me to potentially a sticky question.
All right.
With this push from Wizards of the Coast, their drive towards their own VTT and that sort of thing, is that something that you could, first of all, do you view that as competition? Obviously, they haven't said anything to any third-party devs, and just my own 2 cents that they may well not. But with something like that, let's say they opened up an API for developers. Is that an avenue that you guys will go down to say, okay, well, let's see if we can connect up to this?
All right. So yeah. Before I answer this question, I want to say something. We get that question a lot, and because I'm usually the one that goes to interviews and answer to these questions, have answered this question like several times, and every time I say the same thing. And what I want to say basically is that I hope that what I keep saying about this Wizards of the Coast VTT, I hope that it won't backlash and, everyone will make fun of me, because if someone searches online about me, they can easily find like 5 different versions of me saying that the same answer. So I hope I'm right. So let me start. What I know for sure, and I can guarantee that 100%, is that they are not going to offer any API to any third-party developer. I know that for sure because we have contacted them several times, not only us, but I know other VTTs as well. They've done it, especially 3D VTTs, because Wizards of the Coast and D&D Beyond, they have like an agreement with Roll20 and Foundry, which are all of them are 2D VTTs. And since like years ago, you can use the rule sets and books in these 2D VTTs and have rule sets and character sheets. So they have a collaboration with them. But when it comes to 3D VTTs, the answer is no. So when you send them, hello, I am the director or the owner of a company and we own a 3D VTT. Do you support with an API of D&D Beyond or anything new you're doing? The answer is no, we are not going to do that. So I can guarantee that they are not going to do it. So they're not going to propose any type of collaboration with any third-party developer. Now, if I see them as competition, of course they are competition, because most people will, and especially younger people, will go and play there. So we will lose potential clients, I guess. But there's a but. We are not that scared because we support so many games that this particular VTT of Wizards of the Coast will not support, because it will be only for D&D. So in our VTT, you can play Alien, you can play Call of Cthulhu, you can play Pendragon, you can play Walking Dead, you can play Hero Quest, you can play several games. But yeah, when it comes to D&D, there will be the number one. But again, we know that our product offers a lot of creativity and a lot of manual world building. And we also know that what they are building is something really specific that will kind of look like Baldur's Gate. And, it will allow you to build several things, but they will follow a pretty specific rules path. So, for instance, we allow our models, our character models and monsters to go through walls. They're not going to allow that, of course, because they want to have like something simple. We allow you to build like manually or with autoways. We allow several things that they will not want to do. So I guess in the long run, people will understand that products like ours probably are kind of better, and they offer more creativity. And it's not only RPG stories, other VTTs, 3D VTTs as well. Third, my feeling is that this VTT, if they ever release it, it's kind of doomed to fail for two reasons. The first one is that after the OGL madness, people don't really trust them, and especially when you go online, you can see a lot of hate. And I'm not sure if they will follow a VTT from Wizards of the Coast. We see it as well as like a third developer team. It's really hard to take people from Foundry or Roll20 or other VTTs and make them play in your own VTT. That's the hard part. And that's why we have like an awesome and really large world builder where you can build anything you want. That's our like number one good thing, that we have more models than others. So we attract people because we have like a wonderful world builder, and because we have like a pretty good customer service, and we communicate with our community, and we solve problems every day. But when it comes to actually online gaming, it's tricky to convince people to come in, because people have invested a lot of time and money in other VTTs. So I guess Wizards of the Coast will have some problem. The second reason I think they're going to fail is because they're using Unreal Engine, and that means high-end PCs. And most D&D players are not video gamers. So I have a high-end PC because I own a software company, and I play video games. Most of my friends that play Dungeons & Dragons, they have a laptop from, 2010. And that will be a huge problem because the new generation doesn't even buy that much PCs. They prefer consoles or mobile phones. So I cannot see how a party of 6 people will manage to get together and play online in a VTT that needs a computer or a Mac. It's like 2 years old or 1 year old and is high-end. So I guess they will struggle with that. I cannot see how a VTT created in the Unreal Engine can support Dungeons & Dragons players. I might be wrong, and people will make fun of me. Here I am, but I cannot see it. I don't know how.
Well, that is definitely an all-encompassing answer. As far as the engine goes, I mean, obviously it very you point out correctly, it does make a difference, and UE is done improperly can be a real system taxing beast. A properly done modern UE can run on my 4th gen i7 with its 11 gig 1080. An improperly done one will choke a brand new i9. And I mean, we could probably be here until the sun comes up on the eastern seaboard tomorrow, picking at Wizards of the Coast, but they, whatever iteration, you go all the way back to the 2000s with their promised character builder, which had 3D elements back then. They haven't been able to really organize anything on the software front. So I too am a little bit doubtful, particularly when they've gone through their slash and burn with employees. It's like, okay, you're going to develop a VTT with who?
Yeah, I want to say something because I cannot understand. Obviously, we are not a big studio, and obviously we are not rich or, I don't know, a multi-million company, but you have some devs and a team that proposes Baldur's Gate 3, which is the most successful game of the year, and it sells like for billions of dollars, and then you fire those people. Why? I mean, when I read that, I was like, why? But why? Why did they fire those people? I mean, they brought so much money in the company. Why do you fire them? I mean, you should, I don't know, celebrate. Or,
it's a head scratcher. All of the there were people at Larian. This was back in at the first of the year. There were people at Larian who said all the wonderful people that we interfaced with at Wizards of the Coast were just let go.
Yeah.
They didn't have a single face that they recognized anymore, and the few people that were left were not, they were just having to start afresh. And then Larian was like, yeah, you know what, we're done with you guys. They saw the writing on the wall, and I absolutely understand it. I mean, now that Larian has Baldur's Gate 3 as a notch on their gun belt, so to speak, they can move on to other things. But where does that leave Wizards of the Coast? I mean, they want to develop software, their own VTT, and a Baldur's Gate 4. Bon chance, guys. I mean, because it's not.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't get it. But maybe there's something we don't understand. I mean, I don't want to. Obviously, when it comes to a big company, bad things are happening. I mean, this is like an everyday thing. We all know that. But
yeah,
being outside of it, and since we really love this hobby, and they don't understand that, because probably they have like a marketing committee that they don't really understand how passionate we are. They cannot imagine your room there, or that corner of my room that you cannot see that looks like yours. So they cannot understand how much we love that. And they cannot understand probably that if there are approximately 50 million D&D players out there, no one is playing the game exactly as the next party. So everyone around the table, we play the game differently, even the slightest bit. So they don't understand how much we love this and how passionate we are about it. And that's why I guess they didn't expect this backlash with OGL, and seeing like a whole community really, really angry, and I guess them united against them, like, take that OGL back. And most people, they weren't even affected by the OGL. I mean, they could just continue playing around the table with no problem. But yeah, right. It is what it is. So yeah, we are trying for the best. We are trying to bring people in. It's not easy. I mean, if you check it, let's be honest. We have 320 backers right now.
Mm-hmm. So
you could easily say that, okay, nobody cares about you, Agis. Or, oh, wow, you have like 300 hardcore fans around you. It's, the way you want to see things. But at the end of the day, each product gets some traction, and each product get some fans, and I don't think they really like it.
Yeah, no, I've said before, I put on the foil hat to stop the conspiracy rays from coming down. But I've said before, Aggie, that I personally believe that Wizards of the Coast really wants Games Workshop's model, setting aside Games Workshop's own goal from the last week. We're not even going to discuss that. But, they want that churn of people who come in and play for 24 to 36 months and then leave and go away. But they're not going to get that because we, guys like me, guys like you, people like Risa, Michael Mertig, Vaughn, Engine Joe, everybody out there, we're dedicated to this hobby. We were here with TSR. We were here when Wizards of the Coast was just Wizards of the Coast and not Hasbro. Now we're stuck with Hasbro. And if they think that they can just wait us out and that we're just pouting and that we're not going to get the word out and that we're not going to support smaller companies like you guys who are doing cool stuff over the big Titanic company, nobody wanted that, and nobody has learned from history. TSR did not do well when they put the thumb screws to small companies in the late 80s through the end of TSR.
That's the biggest problem. And what it's really sad, since we're discussing these things. So, as I mentioned, in this campaign, we are going to give like a lot of pre-built quests. Which basically means that we build the quests in RPG Stories so that the user doesn't have to spend time to do it. And they double click the file and the RPG Stories opens. The quest is there built. You can explore it. You can read the text. You can read the whole quest and then invite your players and play. So it's a double click and play thing. So as we were developing these quests to, describe them in the Kickstarter campaign and promote this new cool feature that is called pre-built quests, for my own happiness, I contacted one of the most famous TSR authors. I don't want to say the name, but she's a wonderful person and she has created the in my humble opinion, the best D&D world.
I think I know who you're talking about, but go on.
And I was like, hey, this is me, this is my dream. We're going to do that. Can I maybe implement one of your quests? And I got a reply, I own nothing. I don't have the rights. I'm like, what? Yeah. They own nothing at all. Yeah. Which is, how is that possible? So yeah, it's devastated. I don't know.
Let me tell you a horror story, brother. And I don't know if you heard this through the grapevine. I'm a lap or two ahead of you on the track as far as age goes. Aggie, when Gary Gygax left TSR, they tried to make him sign a contract saying that he would not use his own name on a role-playing game publication after he left, because they thought it would damage TSR and D&D if he was out there publishing stuff with the name Gary Gygax on it. Even if it wasn't D&D, they were that afraid of the pull he had. There has never been somebody who's been able to run that gauntlet of corporate TSR or corporate Wizards of the Coast or corporate Hasbro and come out saying, yeah, I still own all the stuff I did. And it's a damn shame. It is an absolute damn shame.
But anyway, on the other hand, we have to admit something, because I'm always having this discussion, but this day, our hobby is more popular than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
In my, again, humble opinion, and think that the reason that is that famous is that people like you and people like me exist producing content, and not because Wizards of the Coast. But still, it's always about the third-party creator. So one thing that really made D&D famous was the Netflix show Stranger Things. So a third-party creator who was creating like a TV series in the 80s thought, hey, let me place these kids playing D&D. So it's a third-party content creator mentioning Dungeons and Dragons and making it famous worldwide with just one episode. So yeah, at least we won the fight with OGL, and we can all continue producing content. You as a YouTuber, me as a VTT software or author, and all the rest. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I Last year, from this time last year all the way to January of last year was a rough ride, but I try to tell people in all the midst of the hair pulling and the freaking out, like I said, we survived Lorraine Williams' mismanagement of TSR. Yeah. We're going to survive Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast. And when the dust settles, it's just like you say, it's the small creators out here doing awesome stuff that are making the game great.
Yeah. Even if you think about it, every single dungeon master is a content creator that, makes Dungeons & Dragons famous, because this is what is happening. You play with a dungeon master and you get to love this hobby and this game. What I want to mention is this, and I promise I'm not only say it for our Kickstarter campaign, but if you think about it, instead of nagging about Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast, we can always go and support with just $1 my campaign, or your Patreon, or whomever is running a content. So if you like something, even if you don't, if you think like it's a good project, even if you're not going to use it, you can go and pledge like $1, or or support the whole thing, because this is how the show goes on. You can keep on creating things, and we need the support, because sometimes the community spends, including myself, a lot of time complaining about AI, a lot of time complaining about Wizards of the Coast. But then what do you do to change that? So you can always go and support RPG Stories, or support your channel, or whatever, instead of just complaining and basically advertising Wizards of the Coast, because everybody knows Wizards of the Coast, but nobody knows RPG Stories. So we gotta do something to show them. And it's when the whole OGL madness happened, we got a lot of support, all of us. So this must continue, and that's my opinion. And not only for us, like if you say anything good, spare $1, support them. Easy as that.
Absolutely. And I've said this before, like I have the the Dragon magazine is 250 issues of Dragon on CD-ROM, and there are sites, I'm not going to share them, audience, do not ask me, but the Dragon magazine PDFs are all over the internet. One of my favorite things to do, Aggie, is to go and look at the old ads, not the big full page ones for TSR and for other big companies, but the small guys. I just saved up enough money to get an eighth of a page ad in the back of Dragon magazine, and I love looking at those, because that inspires me to think that they took a shot back before there was an internet. Here you are, a guy from Greece in the UK talking to someone on the East Coast of the United States, and this is a video that'll get seen by eventually thousands of people. And the same goes for other things. And with a push of a button, you can get your content out there. You can get your word around the world. And these pioneers who said, I'm going to take $20 and I'm going to put an ad in the back of Dragon magazine. That took guts, man. Out there. And it's always been that way, because those classified ads go all the way back to the Strategic Review, the magazine that was before Dragon magazine. Okay. So what you say is absolutely 100% correct, that it is the small community creators, and it's not about multi-billion-dollar corporations steering things. And I feel like we're positioned, you, me, anyone out in the audience who's doing their own stuff, whether you're just uploading a module PDF to your Google Drive and sharing it with people for free, whether you're doing something on Drive-Thru RPG, whether you're, whether you're putting it through the D&D portal that Wizards of the Coast themselves have, you're part of that legacy. Okay, you're part of a 50-year legacy. Hell, longer if you want to just talk about war games in general. Of creation, and we should never ever lose sight of that. And that's what I love about stuff that you guys do, because again, relatively speaking, you're just a small team of enthusiastic developers.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are really enthusiastic. I mean, we fight every day. With each other. That's how passionate we are, and then we are good friends again. But yeah, we give our lives for this product, and I mean, again, being honest, if you go and check our previous Kickstarter or this Kickstarter, the budgets and the funds are not big. We are doing this out of love, and we really like it. Obviously, we have other projects, and we can pay our bills. But RPG stories and anything related to D&D is like a passion. Even now, we had a meeting with a lead developer discussing of our next steps. And again, D&D came into the loop. Like, how can we create like a video game or anything related to tabletop RPGs? I mean, it's like a virus. You cannot get rid of it. We love it. It's what we do.
Yeah, and it is an absolutely magnificent thing that's brought us together. And this is why I try and emphasize to my viewers, and what you guys do is so awesome, because it helps that is, guys, don't be technophobes about this. I was talking about Old Dragon magazine, Aggie, one of the first like low number issues of Dragon magazine, like in the teens, okay, had a section of type in computer programs. You'd have your TSR-80 or your VIC-20, and you'd sit down. Oh, look, there's a program listing in Dragon magazine. Like an automated die roll or a potion mixer or something like that. And you'd type that in, you'd save it to floppy or cassette or what have you, and then you'd have a D&D program. So software has always been a part of this D&D equation too. We're all nerds, guys.
Yeah,
we're all nerds.
Developers are nerds. I can guarantee that.
I remember I went for a job, didn't get the job interview, but I was it just would not have worked out. I was a brand new father, but I had I had a team of software developers at Lockheed Martin who I put on my resume that at that time I was working for Gary Gygax as a freelancer. And all of our discussion about IP addresses, share permissions, memory upgrades for users, all that went out the door. The back 45 minutes of our interview was just me and this group talking about
you cannot escape that. You just can't escape that. And it's, I must say, because we own a software where you play D&D. So what we do is that after work we get to play in that VTT, because we also have to test it. And us developers always have like a developer build that is a little bit like a month ahead from the one the public has. So we test things, but in order to test things, we have to play. So what we do is we work all day and then we play D&D, which is again like work, because we test things, but at the same time we're having like a great time. And recently we introduced to D&D our new 3D modeler, Helen, the girl I mentioned before. She's really young, and she started playing a druid and immediately changed her life. So yes, now she's doomed as well, and she's asking like, when are we gonna play again? But at the same time, I'm kind of her boss, so she's trying to be polite. But she's asking, where are we gonna play? Because it changes your life. It is what it is.
Yeah,
it's D&D. Yeah. And I told her, sorry to interrupt you. I told her before we start playing, I told her, okay, I'm your boss. You are my employee, but now we're going to play D&D. So let's enjoy our time and try to have some fun, because it's a whole new world that opens in front of you. A step into a larger world, like Obi-Wan said. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, it is wonderful. And I mean, I would probably a little, like a couple of years before the Lockheed Martin interview, I had a job in a warehouse. I did just literally me and 4 other dorks in a warehouse. And I walked in one morning and I had my book bag, my backpack with me. And one of my coworkers had never played D&D before, and I said, "Okay, Joey, lunchtime today, we'll knock out a quick D&D game." And my boss just kind of looked at me and said, "There's nothing going on. Let's just play D&D today." So literally from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m, we just played D&D. I got paid to play Dungeons and Dragons with a bunch of warehouse workers. It's like me and 4 other nerds. It was amazing. We are legion, folks. Yeah. Okay, never doubt that you have any power. But speaking of developing stuff, I promise, if I asked you this in a previous interview and my old man brain has let it fall out on the floor and get forgotten, but we talked about APIs and development and so on. Is there or are there, I'm not sure if it's is or are there a set of API tools that you guys have that are open for people to develop? If I wanted to plug your thing into my thing, do you guys have tools open to do that?
Kind of. No, not per se. But what we do is that we have a commercial-free license, and we don't charge for it. I mean, everything you create with RPG Stories has a commercial-free license. So basically what we allow you to do is, for example, create your own maps and sell them, or create your own quest with RPG Stories and sell them. What we want to do in the future, and I must say, and now I know that Chrisa will start screaming, but in the near future, is that we want to create an API where you'll be able to create your own solo D&D campaign with RPG Stories, and that will be in a form of API. So that means plugging in other software as well if you want. But that's the answer. So not exactly like an API, but more like you can use the tool for your own commercial usage or whatever you do and monetize it.
Okay. So the independent game master who wants to take your thing, as it were, and sort of mutate it and chop it and channel it. In the future, there will be the ability for them to do that. But for another company to come in and say, "We're going to make a video game out of this," pardon us, that's not gonna be okay. All right. That makes perfect sense. I mean, you don't want to give the farm away. Risa says she won't scream. She's totally fine. The emphasis on fine has me worried. Do we need a check on Risa?
She's not fine. I'm telling you that. Not these days. We work a lot for this Kickstarter, and these days has been hectic and chaotic.
I can totally imagine. I tease Risa about being on the show, and I hope someday she can. But I was not going to lean on her to be here tonight if she was.
And also she's too shy to do it. But the funny thing is that if you convince her to come, she won't stop talking.
QPF says, "Blink twice if you're in danger, Hacky."
I am a little bit, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She's an amazing producer. So she keeps the company in line.
Well, so Now here's another sticky question for you, because everybody talks about this lately, and this is one of those things I would dare test the potency of the geek social fallacy to say that I would like to get you and my buddy Tim Imholt, who again, he's a software developer, talking to each other about this. But I will ask, are you guys doing anything with RPG stories or any of your other projects that you can talk about, and say artificial intelligence?
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
No. Listen, I'm not against AI. I'm against AI when I don't enjoy AI art at all. I think it's not fair. One thing that I like as an idea when it comes to AI, I have two ideas. The one, I cannot say it because it might become a project, and I've never shared that. But one thing I like, especially when it comes to video games, is to exploit AI to create NPCs in games that are smarter than the ones we get. So let's say you play Baldur's Gate, or you play Diablo, or any RPG game, and I'm talking about video games. You can program these NPCs to be better and have actual conversation that makes sense, instead of just following a path. That's something that I would like to explore. But yeah, we unfortunately, and I really mean it, we are kind of old. And although you can see all this hate against AI online, people tend to use it, especially younger people. So maybe we should all follow. But at the same time, we have created a product when you, the user, create things. So allowing AI to create things for you, it's probably the future, maybe. But we want to create something that the Dungeon Master can feel really creative and create anything they like. And not just type, give me a dungeon with 7 rooms. We want something that the Dungeon Master is doing that. Even if it's with a few simple clicks, then the Dungeon Master can go and adjust things, and we like that. So no AI yet, no.
Okay, so I guess then, like you were, I apologize if I am abusing this term. If this is, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but again, old man brain. I just want to make sure. So earlier when you mentioned something that sounded to me like a procedural generation tool, that's not sitting down at RPG Tools and saying, give me a 20-room dungeon. I want kind of a big vaulted area in the middle and some side rooms with longish halls.
No, but it is how it works is this. So we will have some presets for everything, like a preset for sea, for forest, for mountains, for dungeons, for whatever you want. But the user would be able to say, I want RPG Stories to use this type of wall that is implemented in RPG Stories, this type of torches, this type of floor from the dungeon collection, this chest and these monsters. And then after combining the art style and everything they want, and pre-click them and pre-choose them, then they will be able to draw an area with just one click. And in that area, a dungeon will appear. And then they can go and make a few adjustments if they want.
Okay,
but it won't be like, give me a dungeon and you get something randomly and this is it. If you like it, okay. If you don't like it, not okay. Basically, for people that have used Dungeon Alchemist, we want to get this Dungeon Alchemist feature to the next level. That's what we're doing.
Okay. So this actually ties back in to, so we were talking before about having an eventual open API for dungeon masters to use. And clearly that's some time off. So, do your breathing exercises, Risa. We're not talking about turning that on tomorrow or anything, but, no. So there's a wonderful section, and let me tell you something. If you don't have an AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide, brother. Get yourself one.
I do. It's over there.
Good. So, like, there's a whole random dungeon generation section in here.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, roll a die. The hallway continues on 10 feet on a 1 to 6. On a 4 through 7, it turns to the right. On an 8 or 9, it turns to the left. And on a 10, it dead ends. There's a whole section in here like that. And viewers out there, anybody, if you don't have this book, get this book. I don't care what version of D&D you're playing, or even if you're playing a completely different fantasy game, get that book. But anyway, that is like my dream would be a piece of software where I could fire up an engine that's pulling the random dungeon generation out of here and doing it logically. Obviously, like if you come to the edge of your map and the die roll says, and there's a 200 by 200 room, it's going to go, no, we're at the edge of the map. We're not doing a 200 by 200 room over there. So I hope, and maybe I'm asking for the world here, and you can tell me if I'm not, but I hope that when you guys do open up your DM's API, that it will, that I'll be able to do stuff like that, because that would just be that would just be amazing. Is that a possibility?
It is, and it's a lot easier than you think. So listen, all these role-playing games, and I'm talking about video games right now, this is exactly what they do. So when you play Diablo, it's not like a level designer or an artist went down and created 4 million different dungeons for Diablo 4. What they do is exactly this. They have like some modular pieces, and every time you enter a dungeon, it generates a dungeon with that exact logic. And there are several plugins online that you can get and exploit and create like dungeons that way.
Okay.
But that's the problem in my head, because when you imagine that, basically what you will get with 2024 technologies, you're going to click a button and get a dungeon right away. What you really enjoy is the fact that you're rolling the dice and you see that now I'm going to go to the right, and let me draw that. So you like the process, you like the randomness, but you also like the process of creating that. And that's one reason, for instance, that our collaboration with Matt Finch was so nice, because we took like all these random tables that Matt has created and we turned it into a software. But then again, it's just one click and you get the results. So, it's two different schools there. If you remember from, it's a TSR product, the Creative Campaign rulebook. It was a blue rulebook for 2nd edition AD&D.
I've heard of it. I do not have that one, but yes.
So it's called Creative Campaign, and it has the same logic. Like you roll a D100 and you get like an NPC that has this backstory and acts like this, and they're looking for that in a town or in a village. It's the same logic. So the process of doing that, it's wonderful because you are part of the process and you feel like you are part of it. Clicking a button and getting the result is like using ChatGPT. So you have to find like a nice design way to give it to the dungeon master so they can feel that they are connected to it instead of just clicking and getting a dungeon.
Right.
But yeah, that dungeon maker, I agree with you 100%. Although it's not 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th edition, it's amazing, and you can easily go on the fly as you play, and that's the cool thing about it.
Yeah, and that's something you mentioned, the creativity, and this is, I've talked to Matt about this, and there is a dopamine release that feels good when you sit down and you do that creation, particularly like if you're between sessions, like your party is going to be taking a long journey across your campaign map to plot out what they might encounter, to roll on those tables just one at a time. And it's it's essential to the process. It's part of the ritual, if you will, of roll. Okay, ooh, there's a 1. What time of day did that happen? Okay, so I roll on this chart. Aha, they encounter manticores. Well, how many hit points do they have? Are they in their lair? How much treasure do they have? What will their disposition be? And on and on and on. And it just kind of starts this branching out process, especially if you look in their treasure and, oh, they have a map to treasure that is in another dungeon. And then and that's something that just push button, create campaign. That I don't think any of us want that. So seeing something like the way it is, but with something like RPG stories, just excites me, and I hope we can. I hope there's a future where that is, regardless of whether it's somebody else coming in and doing it, or you guys implement it as a standard as a standard feature. I wouldn't hate that at all. Which brings me up now to I guess another question along those lines, and that is because we name dropped and we have to talk about the guy. Are you guys do you have more stuff in the works that you're going to be doing with Matt, or are you just supporting his campaign notebook stuff, or is that not something you can talk about? Maybe keep
no secret. We love each other. We have like a really nice relationship. We just released Fantasy Adventure Builder, Tome of Adventure Design for the general public, not just the backers. So we are trying to see how this will go and then decide what we're going to do in the future. So now they are running a very nice Kickstarter campaign. I'm sure you know about it. Swords and Wizardry. We are doing our part with RPG stories, and then we will talk and think about the future. We might do something. I have something to suggest to Matt. I have something in mind, but it's too soon because when you are running a Kickstarter campaign, it's not just a Kickstarter campaign, but it's also the fulfillment. So after this Kickstarter campaign, we'll have to deliver everything to the backers, and then think about our next step. And same with Matt, but they will have to deliver Swords and Wizardry, this new book they created. There is a thought in my mind. He doesn't even know it. When the time comes, I'm gonna tell him.
I think I can grab my phone real quick. I can just call him up real quick if you want to get him on the horn. We'll just hash this out right here.
No. Leave him alone. Not now.
All in due time. Because I love having you on or Matt on, or you and Matt on. It's always a lot of fun, and I'm glad to know that you guys are going to continue to collab, because that is really, really super cool. So let me see. I've been letting the chat scroll by, and you guys have been having some good conversations. So, but if you've got any questions, please by all means ask, because I might have missed them. I'm just taking a quick scroll through. Like I said, I want to make sure I don't miss any of your awesome comments out there. And just a quick note, guys, if you haven't already, please do click the subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications. That is always super helpful. And if you're watching this video after the fact, or even right now, and you like it, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below and tell me what you liked about it, and I'll do more of it. Do you want more Aggie on the show? He's practically a co-host at this point anyway, so I could make him show up night after night. He can't resist.
I can't, but I really enjoy our conversation. And I'll have to admit something. We have like an Excel with all the YouTube channels we like, and we promote our work, and we have a note next to your name that says the old school guy. And trust me, this is the best compliment we can give, because we play old school D&D as well. So yeah, you are the old school guy. We cannot say no to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I have to. I have to make a confession here, okay? And this, I might just kill everything. Like you just reach over and hit the disconnect button and block me on all social media. But I knew we had the show coming up last week. I knew we had the show coming up. I had a couple of people last Thursday were like, "Hey, are we gonna do a thing tonight?" And I was like, yeah, I think so. And then they both, in order, could not do it. And then I got the reminder from Risa on Discord. She's like, "Hey, are we coming on tonight?" I was like, "Oh yes, of course we are." I cannot imagine if I would have died of cringe. I would have imploded. Like you guys are sitting out there watching it. Like what in the hell is this? We were supposed to be on tonight. What in the hell has he done to us?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
And at the last, so here's what happened. This is for my audience's benefit because I didn't stream last week, last Thursday when you guys were supposed to be on. Yeah. Right after Risa messages me, I'm like, absolutely. So I go and I start getting stuff, social media stuff ready to go. My wife comes in from work and I go and I say hello to her. She works from home on Fridays. So I go out there and I'm chit-chatting with her. She's, she's putting it, and she sets her briefcase down and opens it and just goes pale. Thank you, Jimmy. And I'm going to leave that up there, Risa, so you can see that too. But anyway, she goes pale and says, "Oh my God, I forgot my laptop at work." And I was like, "Okay, well, we could go get it first thing in the morning. And then, you can just come back from the house and start your day a little bit early or a little bit later." And she said, "Oh my, if I show up at the office, they're going to be like, oh no, just here, just sit down." And so I said, "Oh, okay, all right. If you gotta fly out, I understand completely. I'm going to be getting the show together." And she's like, "I just took my migraine medication, hon. You don't understand." And I was like, "Oh crap." So I come back. And then you said to me, you're like, "Hey, if we need to do this next week," from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I completely understand. And I get how these things are.
We had to blast out to her office before the automated door locks kicked on and got her laptop.
And since you said that, the day before that, I had another interview in a YouTube channel. I have completely forgotten about it. I'm here in my PC playing Counter-Strike. Like enjoying myself, and I get a message. They were trying to reschedule because something happened, and I was like, "No, don't worry about it. It's okay." And they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you kept you waiting." And I was like, "Oh, it's fine. It's fine." Yeah, I get it. I mean, things happen, and it's always a pleasure to be here. I really enjoy our conversations, and I think that we need to play D&D together sometimes, like a small campaign, like a really
unquestionably. I would love to have all you guys at obviously, unfortunately, it's going to be a virtual table, but when I hit that American lottery, I'm not going to tell anybody, but there will be signs, like when I land in the UK and say, "Hey, let's fly over to Greece and play some D&D with Risa and the rest of the crew."
That's the dream, isn't it?
You'll know. But yeah, no, we are definitely going to play some D&D, but we do have a question. I'm going to let Risa off the hook here. Jimmy needs our Kickstarter link. I put it in. I did stick it in the show, but I'm going to come back to that. Michael says, "Are we adding Chaotic Evil My Little Ponies for D&D, Risa?" When I seize control of Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, Risa is going to be in charge of MLP. So let me put the Kickstarter. There you go. It is right there, guys. There's no reason to not to not at the very least give it a look, because it is all kinds of awesome.
Cool.
And you guys should absolutely check that out. You are You're quite welcome, Jimmy. So let me think. I always love to put you on the spot with this, Aggie. I absolutely just, it gives me a little thrill doing this. What's next? What lies in the future?
All right, yeah, I'm gonna tell you because I know the answer.
Damn it, he was ready for it. Okay, go ahead.
I know the answer. So the next campaign, the next product will be something small. Well, not small, but it won't be a software. It will be a book. When I was a lot younger, I created a necromancer for the second edition AD&D.
Okay.
And the reason I did that back then was because I have created a D&D campaign around the lore of Diablo, the video game Diablo. So I wanted like a necromancer that it will be a truly summoner. So over the years, we have, with my friends, we have developed this necromancer with unique spells. It's a unique class. And as new editions were coming, I kept realizing that there is nothing like this. Like you can play a necromancer in D&D, but it's not a summoner. It's not someone who summons undead. It's kind of something like that. They have some necromantic spells, but basically they're a wizard or a warlock that can also do necromantic spells. So the idea was to create something really unique, something that will feel like a necromancer in the video games, like that they summon undead, and to be playable as a player character or as a villain from the Dungeon Master. So what we are doing on the side right now, we are creating. We have the second edition ready and the first edition ready, and we are trying to make it compatible and test it for 5th edition because we understand that this is the famous thing. It's kind of tricky because 5th edition has this thing which I personally don't enjoy, but I understand that people enjoy it. They tend to balance their classes, because back in the first edition and the second edition, they didn't care about these things. It was all about role playing. So yeah, playing a thief meant that you're not that powerful, and playing a wizard, a high level wizard, basically you cannot be killed. But they didn't care about these things because it was all about role playing. So now we are trying to bring this necromancer into balance for 5th edition. So he's not that overpowered or has less power than others. We are creating all the STLs. So male character, female character for the necromancer, and all the summons from the unique spells they have in miniatures, because we want to create a product for around the table. Several other surprises around this necromancer and lore, and how you can bring it to your own campaign set, because this class was built in my own world set. So we are giving advice how you can play this necromancer and how you can bring in either as a villain or as a player. So this will be our next move, our next small move. Our next bigger move would probably be like Christmas. I really cannot say.
I understand.
I don't want to make a promise. We have several ideas on the table. We are discussing them. We want to see where our campaign will land, and check the funds and see what we want to do. But we are discussing several software-ish things again, and we have like a really cool idea. We'll see. But the next step will be around September, this necromancer, and I will send you a copy because I know you play old school. I want you to test this character.
Well, yes, I do want to check this out. I mean, my mind's already a whirl with the terrible things I could do with such a being at my disposal. And it's like you're giving you're giving poison candy to the dungeon master when you do that. So I'm
exactly this.
Definitely looking forward to playing around with this. And I have always said that a truly well done product like this, and a truly good dungeon master, it doesn't have to feel like, well, that says 5th edition on the cover, I can't use this in AD&D, and no, good stuff transcends edition.
Yeah,
it really does.
But this is the thing.
Go ahead.
This is the thing with the old school D&D, because the old school D&D has this really, in my stupid opinion, amazing thing that is called speed factor and casting times. So,
yes, those are great.
Yeah, but when you create a spellcaster with unique spells, what is happening is that you have to think about all this casting time in order to fit the game. When it comes to 5th edition, you don't have to care about these things.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you have to balance the character, because the character must feel like equal to all the others, because they really care about that in that system. So if you throw a character that is useless, nobody's going to play, or a dungeon master is not going to use. But yeah, it's pretty easy to transfer things and to, but we want to give like, again, being honest, we could go right away with the 5th edition because that's what sells. But I really want to give like the 1st and 2nd, because it's what I do in my life. So I have it ready, and I want to see if there is like a dedicated audience for 1st edition and 2nd edition through Kickstarter. I mean,
well, I'm gonna tell you something, man. If you bring it and you want to talk about it, absolutely, we'll talk it up here on the show, because any new, old school, 1st, 2nd, basic, original, we'll talk your damn ears off about it. And do we love new, old school content? Absolutely. So I'm excited about that. But so you said that's next, and then Christmas. That, brother, that is, I mean, again, speaking from a guy who's a little bit on the older, that's not an incredibly long amount of time. That's only about 9 months. You're putting a lot in there in a short amount of time.
It's 1:30 a.m. here, 3:30 a.m. for Chrissa. We never stop working.
Oh my God.
We are, yeah. And at the same, funny thing is that it's in Greece right now, where most of the guys are. It's 3:30 a.m. All the devs are chatting right now. They're watching the interview and they're chatting and I'm like, if you see me typing, I was telling them like, please go to sleep. We need to work tomorrow. But yeah, we really love what we do. We really enjoy working together. And when there is a Kickstarter or a big event, we're always there. Yeah.
Well, that's great, man. And I get that dedication. I will one more thing myself right into a coma. It's sitting up. It's like, there's one more thing I want to work on for my campaign, for my show, for whatever. I will absolutely do it. So you kids out there from Brave Alice, just keep slamming those espressos, and let Risa get her beauty sleep. Okay. Just let her rest. Aggie, the rest of you guys, I don't care. Just work your fingers to the bone.
You will not convince Risa to rest.
I know.
We are trying to, all of us. She never stops working. I mean, she's a workaholic. There's nothing you can do to stop her working. Even on a Sunday, she will be at her computer working.
I cannot convince them to. I cannot convince her to take a break or to come on the show. So I don't know. Maybe she thinks being on live is slacking. I don't know. Thank you, Vaughn. Thank you for the heads up, and thank you for the super. But it is, regardless of what you guys are doing, it's awesome to have you on here. And I wouldn't hate to. I wouldn't hate to have obviously Risa and yourself, but if any of your other team members have anything that they want to put in the next time you're on, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you extend the invite to them, then they are more than welcome to hop on and say hello. You're a jolly crew over there, and we absolutely enjoy what you're doing. And I can't think of a finer bunch of people to gently bridge the digital tabletop and the physical tabletop. And that's what excites me so much about this. I mean, the minute you said and STLs, because I know we had talked about that back a couple of shows ago, and you're like, maybe. And now it's like, yes, I can. More 3D printing, I'm hyped about that. So,
do you paint?
Do I? Yes, I do. I do paint. I've got. Everybody thinks that I have this very cool kind of, almost studious space here. It's not, Aggie. The table in front of me is piled with paints and brushes and books and gadgets and everything else. Yes, I do paint a lot.
Good. It's well, I cannot wait to go to Greece, and my vacation will be to paint all my new Hero Quest minis. That's my goal for this vacation, to paint, have actual time to paint miniatures. Yeah, it's an amazing hobby. Yeah, and it's a really expensive hobby, but who cares? We love it.
It is, and I'm planning on launching a 3D printing channel here on YouTube, just talking about 3D printing, maybe some painting and some crafting also, but no, let's talk about this D&D book or this, that, or the other. But the one thing that I tell people, and I will reiterate this on my channel, is, when a lot of people, this is going to sound like a little downbeat, but I promise it's not, when they say, oh, I want a 3D print, what do I do to get started? My answer is, don't. Don't. It is toxic. It is expensive. It is tedious. It is
I know.
It's a giant pain in the butt. If you're gonna do it, be safe about it. And when I do the channel, I'm gonna go off on a rant about safety and why you should be careful.
It's important. Yeah.
It's absolutely important. But yeah, when people say, oh, I want a 3D print, and they're talking about the tabletop space, usually, Aggie, and I think you probably would agree with me, what they mean is, I want free miniatures.
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's not free.
It's not free.
It's not at all. Yeah, you think it is, but it's not. Yeah, I know.
I mean, I just today from Amazon, I got like a liter bottle of resin. Okay, that's $24.99. Oh, but you get so many miniatures out of it, and that still ain't free. And, the printer's $300. Okay, when does this become free?
Never. And that's a problem, that you keep on printing or buying miniatures and you still haven't painted the previous ones. But yeah, when you go to the store, you cannot resist yourself. You want to buy something. So now I bought like a giant spider that I want to paint. And the reason I have so many unpainted miniatures, but the reason is that it had this little hair that the spider has, and I thought, I can use that technique when I paint it. So let me test it. So I'm gonna buy it. But yeah, everything is sitting in this office over there, in this waiting for my summer vacation. So yeah,
and it's like you say, it's hard to resist. I mean, I'm going to download that STL and I'm going to print that, and it's printed and it printed perfectly, and I'm going to clean it up and set it on the shelf, and that's where it's going to sit.
Yep. It is what it is. It is what it is.
But when it does come together, like I've told the crew, my apologies to your team and to you and Arisa, Aggie, but I'm going to go off a little bit here. But my thing about painting is, generally speaking, and I'll show an example of this. I've talked to the audience about this. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Bear with me. Here we go. So I have these two Vrock. I have these two winged demons. If you're sitting at the table,
oh, nice.
That looks pretty good, doesn't it? From where you're sitting, because that's about as far as you'd see it from the table. I have two of them. I painted them in about 15 minutes. The thing that I tell people is when it comes to monster miniatures, you don't have to paint them well. Just put some paint on them so they're not just gray pieces of plastic. But for monsters that the party's going to fight, save the fine detail for the cool characters.
Yeah,
but for monsters,
that's a nice advice.
Just take, the I call them slot painting, because it's literally just some color in the right places on them, because you're not going to remember this. You're going to remember, I gotta show this off. I gotta show off the good work. Paint Minis Live sent me, this is what you want to see. This is what you want to see all the detail on.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That glorious silver dragon that he painted up for the show, So that's what I try and tell people when it comes to painting, whether it's you've 3D printed a bunch of stuff or what have you, is save the fine detail work for something that deserves it. If it's just a monster that's one of a dozen or six or whatever, just slot paint them and don't worry about anything else. But I did want to address something real quick though. Risa had said this. It's 3:30 in the morning and you people don't sleep. She said the whole team is watching my show, so thank you very much to the whole team there at the Brave Allison. I do really, really appreciate it. So, well, do you have any questions for me, Aggie? I think we've walked the track a few times.
My only question is, when I come back and we role playing, will you DM or will I DM?
Oh, that's a hard question, because my reflex, it's like muscle memory, is to say I will DM, because I am forever DM. That is what I do.
Same here. I have the exact same problem. I never get to play as a player. Okay, we will figure it out.
We'll sort it out, but definitely we're playing some D&D together, and that includes you too, Risa. Don't think you're getting away from us.
Oh, she will come. I will make her come.
Good, excellent. Listen, man, thank you so much for being here tonight, guys. I'm gonna throw this up here on the screen one more time. Let me make sure I got the right link. There we go. So please check that Kickstarter out. RPG Stories, Wrath of Devs. RPG Stories is just awesome in general. And if you're just coming in a little late and you're like, why? What is so awesome about it? Watch this entire show. Go back and watch my other shows with Aggie. Go check out the RPG Stories Kickstarter right now that is up to 20,000. I gotta get one of these Kickstarter things going too. That ain't chump change. But anyway, this is rocking along, and it's great to see you guys doing good. And we're gonna have you back. We're gonna have you back real soon. Whether it's you and Matt, whether it's you and Risa. Just for example,
I'm going to convince you to come and play test that necromancer with you.
I look forward to it, my friend. Thank you for being here. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. I really appreciated it. Special shout out to Jimmy Invictus and Vaughn Gifford for the supers. You guys help keep the lights on around here. Love you to pieces, Risa, and everyone else. Aggie, I will catch you on the flip side, my friend. Be good to each other. And I think we are just about done. Guys, no live stream tomorrow night. I am going to be running around like a madman during the day and doing some tabletop for some folks who signed up for it later in the afternoon. So be good to each other, you all. I love you, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to